Hello everyone and welcome back to Diablo 4. I went ahead and did some other stuff off camera, not necessarily just on my Druid here, but also on a couple of my other characters, because I want to not only get some things, but also test some things. So, if you'll look at the stuff up here showing what you can do in the regions, you'll notice the areas you can discover, along with the Shrines of Lilith. I have them all now. All of them. I found every single Shrine of Lilith. And I discovered every possible area that you can find on the map. This is the entire map uncovered. And you can see the stuff up there for me to prove it. So, also, I tested on my main character at the moment. I say at the moment because even though my Barbarian would be my main at this moment, she's not really the one I want to be my main, but she kind of is at the moment when it comes to trying to acquire all the possible, like, endgame stuff, at least for now. Until I decide to swap to a different character, like, say, my Druid here. Also, I have been able to acquire even more aspects. All the ones that you can get from a dungeon for every class. I have all of them now. I've done every dungeon that you can get a legendary aspect with. So, all the ones I get from dungeons, I now have. However, as you can probably guess, there's still quite a few legendary aspects that I have not gotten yet. So, and also, let's just say I've also been looking into some more endgame stuff in terms of, like, uniques and what you need for some of the other endgame bosses. Like, my Barbarian has now reached level 80, and I've been able to take down some of the big name bosses. Obviously not the Uber ones, those are for, like, level 200, the big Torment ones. But some of the other bosses I've been able to take down. I haven't done the Beast in the Ice yet because I haven't got the materials to get access to him yet. I did attempt Andariel with my level 79 Barbarian. And she's level 100. Yeah. So yeah, by the way, spoilers, yeah, Andariel is in this game. I've already given it away, but yeah, just for those of you who are aware of some of the endgame stuff, yeah, that's an endgame boss that you can tackle, and I thought my Barbarian was ready to go. Not really, not quite. Now, there are a couple of other ones I've been able to take down, but I definitely need to have my Barb get stronger if I want to do that. In the meantime, I said I was going to let you know, and if you want to see here, I now have every single boon unlocked on my Druid here, which then offers you an extra thing called Spirit Bonding, which allows you to bond to one of these spirits. Now, it's not permanent. You can choose and swap back and forth whichever one you want. So at the moment, what I have chosen here is from the Deer Spirit, I've got Thorns. From the Eagle, I've got Max Life. I decided to bond with the Wolf for the moment, but I can always swap this if I choose to. At the moment from the Wolf, I have extra Fortify of my Max Life when I use the defensive skill, and extending the duration of my ultimate skill, which means my Grizzly Rage can last a little bit longer. And from the Snake, I of course have Masochistic. The only other one I would probably want to swap to bond with is the Deer, because then I could also get the 15% reduced damage from elites. But to me, that's more of an endgame thing. So I think for now it's fine, and when we get to the endgame where I will encounter more elites, that's probably what I would swap to. That's just my thinking. So, but yeah, this is what it looks like when you have gotten everything and you can be able to bond to one of them and get a second boon. And again, this can depend on what type of build you're running it. I'm, of course, running a Werebear one. If I was running a Storm or Werewolf build, I'm sure it'd be different. I'm sure I could choose stuff such as more critical strike damage and more attack speed, in which case I'd probably bond with the eagle instead. You know, stuff like that, just to really up my damage. So in this one, before we go meet up with Neyrel, I figured let's go ahead and do a bit more side stuff. We'll do another one of these dungeons as a quest, and then we've got a couple more. But in order to gain access to those, we have to go conquer a couple more strongholds. So I figured, why don't I show you guys me taking on and conquering these strongholds, in case you're curious about how some of them work. And some of them, even though like I've got an advantage here, which by the way I also learned through my Necromancer, that once you do get to level 50, which right now is basically the cap to getting skill points before you hit what would be this game's version of the Paragon points. And then once that happens, because if you get the renown rewards for the endgame stuff with like one of your main characters, it translates to all characters on this realm. So because I've done that with my Barbarian, all my other characters like my Necromancer, my Druid will get the benefits of that. I learned this when I got my Necromancer to level 50, and she immediately had 24 Paragon nodes. So my Druid will be able to have those once she gets to level 50. I also had an epiphany about gear, as well as if you're wanting to take advantage of all your legendary aspects. And it's that if you want to take advantage of as many of your legendary aspects as you can, you need to make sure that you have as many items as you can to do so. Now, I wasn't really thinking about this that much because on my Barbarian, you have 4 weapons that you never have to like decide if you're going to carry them or use them or not, because you'll just always have them on you, because it's even encouraged. I've already completed that side quest. How about that?
My faith burned and tortured. When I died in that forsaken place, was without the grace, delight. Their path to salvation led me only into darkness. Now, it is blood that gives me purpose. I will bring the light of this world. Forever.
Just want to let him finish talking there. But, even the fact that there are, like, benefits to Barbarian swapping those weapons, because they'll always have them on them. Whether or not you swap them or use them all is entirely based on your build and such.
I'm out of spirit.
Like, I'm sure there's a build for Barbarian out there that emphasizes using your bludgeoning, slashing, and dual one-handed weapons, constantly swapping them so you can get benefits from it.
I'm low on spirit.
Now, I'm not running a build like that on my Barbarian, but I know it exists because there's even a legendary aspect that when you swap your weapon a number of times, you gain berserking. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you never have to think about which type of weapons you're carrying on you in terms of, like, you'll notice there's 2 slots here. And I am currently using a staff, which is a 2-handed weapon. But if I was using a one-handed weapon and an offhand here, like I did when we started this campaign, then that slot would be taken. However, that slot cannot be taken when I'm using a staff. At least I don't think it can. And what I realized is that that's one less slot that I could put a legendary aspect into. And I realized this when I was on my Necromancer, because at the time, my Necromancer was using a 2-handed scythe. But then when I realized I could be able to add another legendary aspect into my offhand, such as if I'm wielding a one-handed scythe or sword and then a shield or a focus, that's an extra legendary aspect I can be able to equip on this character. And once I realized that could be the case with all my other characters. And that it's probably better, especially if you're wanting to take advantage of your legendary aspects, to sacrifice wielding a 2-handed weapon that may give you more stats or benefits if you're wanting to add another legendary aspect to your kit here.
must wait a minute.
So the reason I'm bringing this up is because I started to realize when I was getting ready to prep for this video is that what I'm probably going to need to do is get rid of the two-handed weapons like the staff.
I write this as I bleed out my last among the corrupted tombs of those who might have been my brothers. I have hunted these wretched creatures for as long as I've been able to wield a knife against them. They feed on blood and grow strong in numbers. I have chased them into this nest and been caught in a trap. Their leader can raise the dead, and I fear for all who wander unknowingly into these crypts. If you have the skill, hunt them down. Do not let my death be for naught.
That what I probably need to do is once I get a one-handed weapon and a offhand to swap to that, so that now that I'm able to equip more legendary aspects because I've been collecting more of them, that might be the better way to go if I want to take advantage of all these legendary aspects that I can have access to. Because even though I might be getting more stats from, say, a two-handed weapon or a staff, I'm not getting full advantage of all the possible legendary aspects I have access to. Now, whether or not that's the best or most optimal way to go about it, I don't know. But that's something that I can figure out once I get this character to endgame, because when you're leveling, you're not really having to really worry about that kind of stuff in terms of like what's the most optimal build you can run, because you're just leveling your character right now. You don't have access to all your tools, your entire kit. Once you get to the end game, that's where things can change. Which, by the way, we'll probably get to level 50 and get to the Paragon nodes and such before we even finish the campaign, because, well, let's just say I'm planning on showing you guys a bit more extra of the side content than I normally would. We're not just going to do the main story in this playthrough. I'm going to show you guys quite a bit of the side quests, even some secret ones that I found out are in the game, which I have not done yet, but there are some secret ones that are not marked in the game that you have to kind of go find. And because of that, I think I'm going to go ahead and show that to you in this playthrough, so you can actually see them, especially in case you haven't encountered them yet.
I do not have enough.
And so because I'll be doing some of that extra side content on this character, I almost guarantee you we will hit level 50 before we even reach like the final act of this game, which, in case you're wondering, historically there has usually only been 4 acts in the vanilla Diablo game before the expansion came out, and a 5th act was added. This is how it was in both Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. However, here in Diablo 4... Hold on, let me turn myself up a bit and turn the game down a bit, because I feel like the game might be drowning me out. You're probably having a hard time hearing what I'm saying over the game. Hopefully that's better. So we will be able to reach level 50 before we... Oh, I was talking about the axe.
I'm out of spirit.
Well, in this game, unlike the other two, there's actually 6 acts. Now, I will say this. It's kind of funny that, once again, to me, the shortest act in this game, once again, feels like Act 4. It's almost like a tradition thing now, where Act 4 has to be the shortest act in the game. For no particular reason other than just, well, it's tradition. That's how it's been since Diablo 2, and therefore that's how it must always be. At least that's how I assume the developers are approaching this.
More spirit.
Probably to, once again, appease to those who treat Diablo... I get hesitant about this because I don't want anyone to misunderstand my little rant that I had at the beginning of this. I'm not trying to... How do I say this? I don't like it when nostalgia for a game which, even though I will admit it was a groundbreaking game at the time, and it laid the groundwork and foundation for other games, especially games like World of Warcraft.
Who dares disturb us?
Where it was very clear that the ideas they had for that game, and I tried to talk about this when I actually did do my playthrough of Diablo 2, when we played Diablo 2 Resurrected, and how much of an influence, like, things like this, like this here, the skill tree, or the quest system, you know, these things here, how much of an influence that those had in Diablo 2 on other games back in the day. Because they did. Not just on other games from there on out for other companies, but also with their own, the very same company that made it. I talked about this, how it was so obvious that stuff from Diablo 2 had a direct influence on games like World of Warcraft. A lot of stuff that's in WoW was clearly a direct influence by Diablo 2 and what it brought about. So it has a lot of... There's a lot that we can owe to Diablo 2 for things that are in gaming today. However, I don't think nostalgia for something should blind us to things that have just gotten better since then. Just because something is older doesn't mean it has to be, that it's better. Just because you have nostalgia for something doesn't mean that it's always going to stand the test of time, or that something better isn't going to come along.
That way, spirit.
And that's part of the reason why I had my little rant. Because it's not that I fault anyone for loving Diablo 2. That's not the point of what I was saying. What I was saying is that sometimes folks allow their nostalgia for something to not allow themselves to be open to something else that is actually better, because they don't want to accept it being better, because they want this thing they have nostalgia for to always be better in their eyes. And they want whatever comes next to be almost identical to that because of how much love and nostalgia they have for it. And I feel like that is the kind of thing that happened in regards to not just Diablo 3, but also this game. Which I feel is a negative thing. So, I'm not trying to, like, crap all over, you know, people that love Diablo 2 or may have had an influence on the team, you know. It's just been grating, you know, over the years, you know, when you see some of these people that refuse to acknowledge how good of a game that you really like is because they have nostalgia for what came before. Or that they have their own specific, unique perspective on something and think that that's how it should be for everybody else. And that others should have the exact same experience, and if they're not, then they're doing it wrong, and how dare they. And this is not just in regards to Diablo, this is in regards to other games as well. Increase your max spirit by 60 and your spirit generation by 20 while Grizzly Rage is active. Ooh, nice! Well, I think we're fine right now. I'll go ahead and unlock that in my little collection of aspects. Alright, so. Time to show you guys a couple of strongholds in this area. This one is interesting. Nostrava. A quiet mountain village with a sinister secret. Let's go see what's going on over there. I think another reason why I've been getting a little resentful or negative about this is because there's someone I know who is also into Diablo. However, when they played this, how do I say this? What they shared with me was that they have historically had some issues when it comes to depression, and sometimes some games can trigger that. Games like The Last of Us or The Witcher. Not necessarily just the games, but the settings themselves, because there are just some settings in some games that just really emphasize how horrible and depressing and dark the setting is. And historically, even though Diablo should be a setting that does that, one of the reasons why it wasn't is because there was some good here and there, including some people. But when they played this game, they felt their depression triggers did happen while they were going through this, and it felt like they went too far. It was too much for them, to the point where I was told that they were never going to play this game ever again because of how much it triggered their depression. Which really said something to me about, and I was talking about this, I mean, just look at this. Look at this place. Look at all the blood and gore in this place. Now, I'm not saying the blood and gore is the thing, but then again, I don't think the developers have to turn Diablo into a Saw movie for it to get across the point of what a Diablo game could feel like for some people.
Blessed are you who will die in the Mother's name.
But I do feel like at times,
Give this stranger the holiest of welcomes.
that sometimes you can go too far. To the point where you can actually have it be a little too much for people, to the point where they're not going to want to play your game anymore. And when something like that happens, to me, I feel like you have gone too far, because I don't think you wanting to cause people to not want to see or play your work is a good thing. Maybe I'm just thinking weird right now on that.
Hate, reek of corruption. Must destroy.
But if I was gonna make something, I wouldn't want to make it in a way that would be too far for someone to never want to see it or try it ever again. Because at that point, why did you even bother making it? Now, there is the idea of,
I must wait a moment.
well, we're not going to make it for everybody. We're going to make it for those who do like it. Which is fine, because there are plenty of people that have done that. People like Joel Hodgson, I believe his name is.
Another lamb for the sacrifice.
The guy who helped create Mystery Science Theater 3000. one of the things that he famously said was, we make this not with the idea that everybody's going to get this, but the right people are going to get this. Which I understand what he's saying. But that is a circumstantial thing. I think normally you'd want to make something for a decently wide audience if you're interested in actually, like, getting it well known or such, but I don't know, it just kind of, like, feels to me as if, like, if you're making it without wanting enough people to actually, like, want it or like it, it may not get much success, or it may not have long success. Does that make sense? And I guess what I'm trying to get at is that I don't think this game... I mean, of course it's going to depend on the amount of people, but we'll have to wait and see, because I know some people that they have already, like me, said they are more interested in going back and playing Diablo 3 more so than they are continuing to play this game. But then again, this game is not done yet. We know there's more coming, and maybe that could change things. But if so, they're going to have to make some changes that would want to bring some of those people back that have already turned their back on this game. Now, the only reason that I have basically turned my, I did turn my back on this game. And the only reason I've really come back is because, for me, a lot of these gameplay changes have really helped. But it doesn't change how I feel about the story. Or what they've done with, like, the direction and such. Like, a lot of those things I said were not, like, recently new feelings. They were basically, like, almost the exact same thing that I felt months ago when this first came out. But I know a lot of people are not really going to care about things like that. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe they just don't really feel like they need to care or have to care.
I beg you.
Well, I didn't really talk about that stronghold at all that whole time. I just kind of, like, got into that little thing that I was talking about.
It was wrong. But you gave me a chance to escape it. Thank you.
Well, whoever was asking for help just now, I hope that she did once I got this place, which becomes an extra waypoint, you'll notice, for us. Alright, so now let's get this stronghold.
Welcome. Blades need sharpening. What'll it be?
The wind's bound to cutting, even for these parts. Unholy energies are flowing into this creature. I must end the ritual.
I think, let's see. I'm going to turn down some of the effects here. I feel like the effects might be a little too strong. take this place back from the Goatmen. Or the Ice Clan, as I guess they're called. Glad to know that Trample gives me Unstoppable and gets me out of that. I like to think that there are times, those times where I'm getting frozen are because it's like, well, you're in an area that's really cold and sometimes you just freeze.
I do not have enough spirit.
By the way, this is one of the reasons why I tried to now have like an Unstoppable attached to my kit. Even if it's not like the most optimal way to do things. Like, I'm sure there are some that would look at like my build and be like, you should be running the Creeper rather than the Bulwark. But having an extra Unstoppable, to me, is kind of a nice big deal. Because of the amount of times where I can get stunned, or frozen, or silenced, and... Gosh, I hate getting, I guess, what would you call it? Like, right here. Like, I hate getting frozen or stunned. Like, make it where I can't do something, you know?
I must wait a moment.
Doing some of these the first time, I was just like, oh gosh, what do I do? What do I do? Because I was learning what you have to do in terms of like the path and the pattern, in terms of like each one, to try and figure out what it is that you need to do in each stronghold to basically take it down, to get access to the last boss, and then of course trying to take down the last boss, which can be pretty tough, especially on your first time around. However, once you do them a couple times on other characters, especially once you've got some of these bonuses that I've got, because I've gotten access to some of these other things via my first character, it doesn't feel as bad. Now, I'm sure I would be, like, tearing through these guys even faster if I was not running a tanky build, but part of the reason why I'm doing this build is because I don't want to kill things too fast, because I actually would like to show some stuff off for you guys, and I feel like if I kill stuff too fast, like, if I was on my Necromancer, my minions would be killing stuff so fast, I wouldn't really get the chance to show off anything for you guys. You know? Oh hey, I've killed 10,000 skeletons.
I'm not ready yet. I must wait a moment.
Ooh. I trampled did a lot of damage there.
Akazra's storm is ended.
Well, we got all the Stormcallers, so yep. And now, we can take on the last boss here in the middle. Hello there. I didn't spin like that on purpose, it just kind of happened. Alright, Frosthorn. You ever face a dire werebear? Oh gosh, I'm frozen. Man, I hope there's an aspect that lets it where it's like when I pop Grizzly Rage, or during my duration of Grizzly Rage, that I'm unstoppable. Because that would be great. Like, I'd like it where the idea that while I'm in this dire werebear form that I am just unstoppable, you know? Like, that appeals to me. I also like this idea that we are conquering these places and taking them back for whoever they belonged to before, and therefore we get like extra merchants here. Some of them do give you waypoints, like that one over there, but this one doesn't, and I wish all of them did, but, you know, it is what it is, I guess. So now we can go finally get the Grizzly Maul that we were asked to get by that bear tribe. By the way, just because we took this stronghold doesn't mean they're all gone. They're still here. That might end up being the transmog that I go with on this character for the rest of this playthrough, but we'll see. It depends. Like, when I was going through the appearances I've unlocked so far, it just kind of appealed to me the most. Which, by the way, each of those will look a little different based on what class you're playing.
All hunters beware. Turn back if you value your life. A new beast nests in these caves. They are man-shaped, bearing fur and massive horns. If you see one, do not approach. Do not engage. Do not attack. Turn back and leave as quietly as you can. Once noticed and hunted by these beasts, you are beyond saving. Let the corpses here speak for themselves. Light, go with you.
I must wait a moment.
Just heard someone call for help in here. Where are they? Oh, hey, Butcher! Well, if you guys want to see the Butcher, here he is! Let's see if I can take him on.
I'm not ready.
Ooh! Ooh, he's chunking me. Meanwhile, I have this other elite here. Oh, gosh, he is chunking me. Alright, I'm gonna have to die werebear here. Here we go.
Wait a moment.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I must wait a moment.
Woo! I have yet to die to the Butcher. Whether it's on my Barbarian, my Necromancer, or my Druid now. I was wondering if I would get to show off the Butcher for you guys, but I knew he had a chance to show up because I encountered him on tier 2 on my Necromancer, so that told me, oh, okay, so he'll still be able to show up in tier 2. He's not just a high endgame boss. Oh, Werebear Augments. Wonderful. I am really happy I got after this, I think. There's one lever, there's the other.
I need more time.
There it is. There's the Grizzlies Mall. Alright. Well, we have it, but since we're here, we may as well finish the dungeon.
I'm not ready yet.
I like how she says that while she's frozen. Oh, hey, a ritual stone. What's up, guys? 36. I like how I like that animation. Just do a big guttural roar as a werebear. I think it looks really cool. I will say this, even though I like what they did with Diablo 2 Resurrected in terms of like the more remade version, I think that this has done some really good stuff for the Druid class in this game. Because think about how a lot of people said when it came to the classes in Diablo 2, a lot of people felt like Druid was their least favorite class in that game. And I'd like to think that what they've done with this class in 4 has changed that. I'd like to think I'm not the only one that really likes how Druid feels in this game, especially compared to D2. And I will admit, I was sad it never made its way to D3. But I am glad it's here now, and I am enjoying this. Man, seeing him stand against that wall like that, I was like, oh, I have to trample into him. Get that extra damage for knocking him into a wall. Oof. Ooh, a greed shrine. Time to make some more money.
I need more time.
A Khazra abomination. Yeah, if they thought the Khazra out there were bad, they didn't see this guy. Alright. Hurricane damage. Okay. So now, let's go give this to the bear tribe. Be like, I brought your champion's mighty weapon. I have returned with the Grizzly's Maul.
You have done much to honor the Bear Tribe. As is tradition, the Grizzly's Maul must pass to a new warrior. For your role in cleansing Malnak of the Khazra filth, I offer you this weapon of our people. May it serve you well.
Nice. The Grizzly's Maul, a rare two-handed mace with a couple sockets. This fabled hammer is considered sacred to the barbarians of the Bear Tribe. Look at all these yellows. And right now I'm thinking about how many different legendaries I could possibly create just from like putting the aspects on them. Not necessarily in terms of making new legendaries, but more so appearance-wise, you know? But it's possible I've done all I can when it comes to unlocking these. Ooh, hello. Oh, because... Oh, yeah. Because I did this, now the chieftain wants to meet with me. Hello? We meet at last.
I waited for one such as you. A proven warrior who knows honor and glory. You may not be of the tribe, but your deeds make you kin nonetheless. Far has the call of the ancients brought me. Even now, I can hear their words, offering redemption for our failures at Mount Ariat so long ago. Be my champion. Accompany me into the glacier. Help me gain the wisdom of the ancients, and give purpose to my broken people.
Alright. So now we go into this area right over here. The Hallowed Glacier. I think this is obviously meant more for a barbarian, but it seems fitting if you're a werebear druid.
Be on guard. This glacier has claimed many of my bravest warriors.
It's alright, chieftain. You got a werebear with you.
Sorcerer would bar our way. Bring it down.
You got it.
that door. We must find a way through.
Not ready yet.
I feel like having that earthen bulwark really paid off earlier against the butcher. It also helps that I've got 9 potion capacity. Because I think if I had less when I first was playing this, I probably would have ended up losing that fight to the butcher. Just because he was hitting really hard. I'm also running out of space here.
I must wait a moment.
And I'm now full. Let's drop a couple of these blues.
Not ready yet.
Oh! Did you see all that damage when I knocked him into the wall? Whew. Suck off the fleshless!
It was guarding a stone of blood. It may be of use to us.
I do like that in all these dungeons, whenever you get one of these, like, bloodstones or whatever, it then gives you a movement speed so you can quickly make your way back to the door that goes to.
I chose my champion well. Let us find what lies beyond.
You must not. No! Not.
What has befallen you?
You're the warrior. He is near. You must not let him consume you too. Oh no. No! No! Chieftain of the Bear Tribe, you are here to answer the call. Now you are mine, just as those who have come before you.
Not while I'm here.
Yes. I am Kravit, once a shaman of the Bear Tribe, searching for a way to make amends for the past, imprisoned by those I sought aid from. You have succeeded where I failed. Ancestors be praised. Chieftain of the Bear Tribe, you and your champion have done well. Tell me, what of our people?
They have sacrificed much in our pursuit of the Ancient's call. They have suffered, and they have learned loss.
Strength alone failed us, said Ariat. But you have forged new bonds of brotherhood, accomplished much. Take my blessing back to our people. find a new destiny. Dwell on the past. No more.
Rest well, Kravit, shaman of the Bear Tribe.
I cannot carry anymore.
Almost everything. Oh. There we go. Almost everything I had was an upgrade, which is funny. Okay. Well, I think that might be a fitting place for us to stop at the moment. I was going to go do this other quest in that dungeon over here at this other stronghold we took. So we can also give it back to this guy over here. But maybe we'll do that next time, before we go off to see if we can find Neyrel. So I'm going to head to Kyobashad and work on my gear. And then when we return, we will go ahead and do this one. And then we will finally go search for Neyrel. Stay tuned.